Welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic. It's EDH Commander Thursday, and in today's video we are putting the finishing touches on Lazav, Dimir Mastermind in our EDH Dimir deck build. Alright, what's up MTG BC? Here we are. We are going to close it out. We are finishing our Lazav Dimir Mastermind mill-themed deck, folks. It is time to finish this baby off. We're going to add a few more cards to strengthen Dimir, install the land base, and we're going to call it quits on this deck building series outside of any potential revisions and discussions of playtesting and gameplay. And of course, if you missed any of the previous episodes of this current deck building series, you can click on the links in the description below and bring you right up to speed. So far, these are the cards that have been included in this deck: Altar of the Brood, Ruined Crab, Maddening Cacophony, Folio of Fancies, Manic Scribe, Mind Crank, King Narfi's Betrayal, Psychic Corrosion, Memory Erosion, Court of Cunning, Consuming Aberration, Mind Grind, Altar of Dementia, Thief of Sanity, Sphinx's Tutelage and Teferi's Tutelage, Mind Funeral, Fraying Sanity, Startled Awake, which on the opposite side is Persistent Nightmare, Nemesis of Reason, Mirko Vosk, Mind Drinker, Enter the God Eternals, Traumatize, Geth, Lord of the Vault, Reanimate, Blood Chief Ascension, Nighthawk Scavenger, Guilt Feeder, Extract from Darkness, Chainer Dementia Master, Sir Conrad the Grim, Rakshasa Debaser, Rexiel the Risen Deep, Diluvian Primordial, Sepulchral Primordial, Rise of the Dark Realms, Rapid Hybridization, Absorb Identity, Drown in the Lock, Recoil, Murder, Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, Plague Crafter, Curtain's Call, Decree of Pain, Plague Wind, Ingarrick's Wake, Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Arcane Signet, Dimir's Signet, Sword of the Animist, Limdul's Vault, Windfall, Phyrexian Arena, Factor Fiction, and Beacon of Unrest. And the last of the deck is dedicated to a few cards to strengthen Lazav himself, in addition to the lands. So let's get to the last of the cards that we're going to include that are not lands. We have 5 equipment that we are going to include to help Lazav hit home and deal lethal commander damage. The first is Commander's Plate. For just 1, it comes into play. It's 3/3 and has protection from each color that's not in our commander's color identity. So that's protection from white, protection from green, and protection from red. And if we equip it to Lazav, it's only going to cost us 3. The +3/+3 will help to boost the power and toughness to get home for lethal commander damage. And of course, protection from white, red, and green, well, that's going to be helpful as well. Speaking of hitting home for lethal commander damage, Trailblazer's Boots. 2 to cast, 2 to equip. Equip creature has non-basic land walk, because who doesn't play with non-basic lands in their commander deck? Equipment number 3 is Hero's Blade. The cost is 2, the equip is 4. However, whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under our control, we may attach Hero's Blade to it. So with this in play, we cast Lazav, and this gets attached to it, and we don't need to pay 4 mana to do so. +3/+2, that is a nice bump in power and toughness. Equipment number 4 is Mask of Riddles. For blue and a black, it is an equipment that gives equipped creature fear. And equipped creature, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we may draw a card. I'm pretty sure we will draw that card. The equip cost is a very reasonable 2 to give our Lazav commander protection to give our commander fear, which means it can only be blocked by black and artifact creatures. Speaking of protection, Lazav, and that is going to be equipment number 5, the Darksteel Plates. 3 to cast, 2 to equip. The Darksteel Plates is indestructible, and equipped creature is indestructible as well. Those are the last 5 non-land cards to add to this deck. Now let's move on to the land base. We are going to include a slew of basic lands, and that's going to begin with 10 islands, just basic islands, 10 basic islands. And to follow that up, because you know how Symmetry and MTG Burgeoning roll, folks, we're going to have 10 basic swamps. 10 swamps and 10 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that makes up more than half of the mana base. Now, let's take a look at a couple of little, we'll say, utility lands that we're going to include to help synergize and strengthen the deck. Castle Lochthwain is going in. It enters the battlefield tapped unless we control a swamp, which we probably will. Tap for a black or tap 1 and 2 black to tap this to draw a card and then lose life equal to the number of cards in our hand. EDH is a nice format that gives us 40 life to play around with, so we can make sure we can utilize that at least a couple of times per game. Speaking of castles, Castle Ventress is going in. And of course it comes into play tapped unless we control an island. Tap for a blue or tap 2 and 2 blue. Tap this to scry 2. And we are also going to include Mystic Sanctuary. This is also an island and it enters the battlefield tapped unless we control 3 or more other islands. When Mystic Sanctuary comes into play untapped, we may return target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard and put it on top of our library. Very nice recursion for a deck that's going to rely on a number of instant and sorcery spells to help us win the game. Next, we have Port of Carful. It enters the battlefield tapped, which I'm not a fan of. However, we can push the potential benefits of this card a little bit more because of what it can do. It taps to add a blue. However, we can tap 3 a blue and 2 black and sacrifice Port of Carful to mill 4 cards and then return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Fortunately for us, we can do that at instant speed. End of turn on our opponent, activate Port of Carful. And the last of our lands are going to be 2 types that give us nothing but the colors we need, and that's going to start off with a Command Tower, blue or black, Morphic Pool, blue or black, Drowned Catacomb, same story, Sunken Hollow, same story, Tainted Isle, as long as we have a swamp, it'll give us a blue or a black. Clearwater Pathway, or on the flip side, we have Murkwater Pathway. Sunken Ruins as our filter land, and Dark Water Catacombs to round it out. And we're going to include a couple of colorless lands just to bring the deck to fruition. Command Beacon, we can tap and sacrifice to put Lazav into our hand from the command zone because we can expect him to be the target of a lot of hate. Myriad Landscape will be included so that we can try to ramp up by tapping 2 and sacrificing it to search our library for 2 basic land cards that share a type and put them into play tapped. And then next we have Nephalia Drownyard, tap for a colorless, or tap 1, a blue and a black, tap the land, and target player mills the top 3 cards. And the last land included, card number 100, Rogue's Passage. Just another way to try to get Lazav in for that lethal commander damage. And there you have it, MTG Burgeoning Community. We have completed our EDH Dimir Mill-themed deck. Lazav is our general, our commander, our leader. We have done it, folks. We have built the Mill deck. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.